Hello everyone.
Hi.
You're welcome to Deliwa Talks Real.
Yes, where everything about relationship and marriage
is kept real.
Real.
Very real.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. And from wherever you're watching from, today we're still focusing on our campaign on the fact that marriage still works.
Yeah.
And as you can see, ours is still working. We are still here. I still love you.
What's your name?
Uwa. I said I still love you. You didn't tell me.
I love you, but I'm Dele.
I'm Uwa.
Alright.
And yes, so let's dive straight in. Today we are focusing on one other thing, that has helped our marriage work. In previous videos, we've talked about how we started and our beginning and some of the things that we did then and we're still doing now that has made our marriage to work. And today we are picking this very salient thing that has helped us, and that thing is commitment. Commitment.
That's a big word.
Sounds like a big word.
It is.
It
not
is.
Sound. It is.
It is.
You know that commitment is dedication to a cause or activity. And you might be wondering and asking, so which area do we actually need commitment?
In marriage and relationship, everywhere.
I agree.
Everywhere.
It's practically everywhere.
Exactly.
In all areas.
And in our marriage, it might sound like we are boasting, but we have totally been committed to each other in every area of our lives. In building our careers, in raising our children, in helping one another to become better versions of ourselves. We have both exhibited commitment, and that means we've been dedicated, we've been investing to make sure that we become better.
At least
and we achieve our dreams and aspirations.
I remember, especially in the area of education, and trying to just use that to buttress the word commitment. When she was going to do her master's degree, I remember that
my first master's. don't
Sorry, because you have two master's degrees. Well, exactly. I have one. No, there's no problem. It's not competition.
At all.
But when she was going to have her first master's degree, I remember we were practically living on one person's salary. That's huge. But beyond living on one person's salary, we were committed, dedicated to each other. And I remember quite a few number of times where I have to be involved and just to see her happy. Why was I dedicated? I remember very well, and because we talked about this thing even before we became married. I remember clearly that it's an aspiration for her. It's something that will give her joy. And
I like the book.
Well, I agree. I agree. So that compelled me, or make me, at least not forcefully anyway, but I knew I have to dedicate to that in order to let her have that satisfaction.
I can attest to that. He was fully committed, and one thing he forgot to say, when I started this first master's program, we had 2 children, a toddler and like a 3-month-old baby. So when I go for lectures, beyond the fact that he was committed, showing commitment and support financially, he was also helping to babysit the children while I go for lectures then. You remember? Beyond that, that's not all. God. When it was now time for me to write my dissertation, the school where I was doing the masters insisted that for us to do data analysis, in analyzing our data, when you in dissertation, when you gather your data questionnaire, to analyze those data, they insisted on us using chi-square. I didn't know how to use chi-square. I was used to using simple percentages. And being the mathematician that he is, he took over. Not that he took over the work, but he ensured that I knew it. I remember sleepless nights. This man was by me. He stood by me, ensured that I was able to do that dissertation to the required standard of the school.
Well, for me, I see that we work as a team, and what gives her joy gives me joy. And what gives me joy also
gives me joy.
Equally gives her joy. And that is not to leave it there. And fast forward 4 years after, I had to now do my own master's degree, and I remembered also in a similar vein, like it was like a role reversal, whereby she dedicated herself, committed herself to that course because she knew that it was a desire in my heart at that point in time that I want to badge that master's degree. And sleepless nights she was there to make sure, the same way she described my own involvement in her own situation, she was deeply, I must even confess that she was even more involved than the way I was during her own time.
Can I tell you one secret? When my first master's, when I did it in a school in Nigeria. But when my darling husband now wanted to do his, he went all the way to the abroad to go and do his master's. And you know what that meant? We had to spend more money. And at some point, we could not go on. The school fees was overwhelming because we were paying in, I think, dollars or euro then. We had to sell one of our cars. And he didn't even have to. I was one that suggested, with the way things are now, let's sell one car. This is an investment.
Yeah.
Why? Because I am committed. I was committed and I'm still committed to the relationship. So we agreed to sell one of our cars so we could pay his school fees. And I tell you, it paid off.
Really, really paid off. Really, really paid off.
There are other areas. I know
yes,
and you'll be wondering how many people would be able to do such things. But if you want your marriage to work, you need to really be ready to commit yourself, to that marriage and to the things that are of interest and of value to both of you. And I remember when I lost my dad. I mean, that was a very traumatic period for me. My husband stood by me. So you can see that commitment is not just in intellectual or financial ways alone. Psychologically, you show commitment to your spouse, especially when you are going through a rough patch, maybe the loss of a job, the loss of a loved one. When my father died, my husband was there for me 110%.
I remember when I lost my mom as well.
Oh my!
So you could see that it was a mutual arrangement and approach that we really used towards each other.
And why is all this? Because we both told ourselves that this marriage, it deserves our commitment. It deserves us giving each other support. And that's one thing that has helped us. So even when I know that I'm going through a rough patch, it doesn't overwhelm me. I don't go into depression. I don't begin to think unwholesome thoughts because I know that I have someone here.
We share it together.
Yes. Who will stand by me and help me go through those rough passage. And it's the same thing. There's nothing that he will go through that I won't help him to navigate through or support.
And I think the question now is what about your own case? What are you doing to communicate commitment?
And how are you showing commitment?
How are you showing commitment?
How are you showing support?
And or maybe you're saying, but commitment has been coming from my side, but maybe my partner is not equally committed. Equally committed. I think the first thing, if in that particular scenario, I think is to open the line of communication and see how best you guys can resolve that. And
they should talk about it.
And if it fails and it seems as if you are not successfully navigating through that, then that's where you can reach out, whereby we can look at it and see how we can be involved to navigate you through how to get out of that situation. And then you can reach out us via what you're seeing on the screen. The email address is there. Reach out and let's see how we can take it off from there. And I think at this point,
so before we go, just by way of summary, we talked about commitment today as something that you should put into practice to help your marriage blossom, to help you enjoy your marriage, and for you to work, so that you can join us and say, truly, marriage works. So which areas can you show commitment? This is just a recap. Intellectually, be there for your spouse.
Psychologically,
be there for your spouse.
And financially as well.
Be there for your spouse.
So
when they're going through rough patch, be there for them. Be their friend. Just create an enabling environment where they can talk to you and be safe, to discuss those very naughty issues that they are going through. And like my amazing husband have said, if it's looking so difficult and looking naughty, we are happy to help you navigate through those difficult moments. Okay.
All right. So until we come your way next time.
Yeah.
Always know.
Yes.
And remember.
Yes.
That marriage
still works.
But don't forget. Always remember to like, subscribe, and share.
Share.
All right.
Thank you so much for
watching.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.